Alright, so here is today's project. What we've got here is an old Motorola radio. Looked it up on the Radio Museum there, based on the sticker on the bottom. We've got a 59T-4, circa 1939 is what they date this guy. So pre-war, barely, and you figure about 78 years old, give or take. It would be nice to live that long, would it not? It's in pretty good condition. I bought a bunch of different radios I went through a phase, I don't know, 10 years ago, and bought maybe a dozen radios and radio phonographs, wooden cabinets, pre-war, World War II. Actually, one of them is from the 20s, so just barely after World War I. I think that's the oldest one I have, an old Motorola radio cabinet. It's beautiful. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that one yet. And I made little various projects, a computer case. I made two of those, actually, a video game player where you pop the top open of the phonograph, and ooh, look, there's a video game, machine in there, like an emulator for all the old Atari games and so on. So, some fun stuff. Today's project is super simple. I am going to keep the chassis intact. I'm just going to slide the chassis right out of this cabinet, because as you can see, it does work. Lights up, you can hear it playing. I'm going to be quiet for a second. So you can hear there's a fairly loud hum. I am not a radio expert by any means, but I do know that's a very basic and simple thing. Somebody could simply replace the dried out capacitors on the radio chassis and that hum would go away, and this thing would probably play real nice. Aside from that hum, it's pretty good. The antenna is probably loose, or maybe it's not even in there, I'm not sure. The only station it will pick up is our AM 790. As you can see, the dial is off a little bit, but that's a very simple adjustment. So AM 790 is WAEB here in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Well, I'm not in Allentown, Pennsylvania, but that's where the radio station is. And it's got a very loud signal. You can pick it up all over the Lehigh Valley easily. So that's what you hear playing. The hum, like I said, capacitors. And otherwise, it's in pretty good shape. The cabinet is pretty nice. It doesn't need any refinishing. It's got a little basic patina, a few little wear spots. It's actually exactly what you would expect for a 78-year-old wooden radio. I don't remember what I paid for it on eBay. I would guess in the $20 range. I never spent much more than that. And I had my searching set for local area only, 50 miles. I would go pick them up. Save a lot on the shipping. I usually bought them in 20 miles radius or less in local sellers. Bought a couple from one person. So point is, I didn't pay a lot of money. It is a nice cabinet, and today's project is going to be very simple. We're going to slide that chassis out, like I said, and insert this simple, basic, I think it's about a $20 Bluetooth speaker, which sounds okay. It's not a amazing sound quality, but what do you want for $20? It's going to sound better than the same radio does. And that's the project. So we'll be able to hook in our phone or anything with Bluetooth to that. There will be an auxiliary wire to plug something in. And I think I even have some real cheap, super cheap, basic MP3 players like this little boy here. And we will probably put that in there. Maybe we'll even get that. No, that won't work. But we'll figure out something to replace that dial. That dial is beautiful. If this didn't work, I would probably just separate that dial and everything from the chassis and leave it in there and put a little light behind it to make it look nice. Non-functional, of course. But I'm not going to do that. Like I said, the chassis... you can hear it. It sounds fine, minus the hum. And I could either make a couple bucks on eBay or someday put it back together. I don't know. But I do know the Radio Museum gods would be angry with me if I just destroyed a perfectly working 78-year-old AM radio chassis, so we won't mess with that. Okay, we will check in again. I'll take a few pictures along the way, and then we'll make a finish-up video when we're all done.